You might have heard of these guys, Overkill computers, but have you heard of this? $8,000 for a 5950X and a 3080? Look at that price that they have on this PC now, $2869, and they're having a sale for $2627, which is more than what... That build listed for $2397 yesterday. Ex-employees have reached out. They do have NDAs. That was the only thing I was trying to do, is talk about the price, and now it's become this entirely different thing. This comment comes from Overkill's creative director on Instagram. Have fun with your 20K view videos. From now on, brother. I wish you all well, and I'm not threatening you in the slightest. Honestly, I feel bad for your situation. Let me know if I can do anything to help you out. Heart emoji. As of Monday, I was hand-delivered at my home a letter of cease and desist from the lawyer of Overkill. This alleges that I was defamatory towards that company. They also asked for me not only to cease and desist, but they want me to delete every single video that references them. That includes the pricing video. They also want me to delete every comment that is in reference to them.
I want to take a minute to talk about bullies. It has recently come to my attention that a certain pre-built company has sent a cease and desist letter to a TikToker who has reported on some pretty overpriced pre-builts on said company's website. See, cease and desist letters are just glorified intimidation tactics. All they are intended to do is get the entity in question to stop doing what he or she or it is doing. And oftentimes, with respect to smaller creators like ours, they work because they seem super ominous on the surface, and they make it, they word it as though you could lose so much if they actually do follow through with a lawsuit. The issue here is there is nothing that this company could sue this individual over. To the best of my knowledge, from what I've been told, because I have talked with this TikToker, Circuit Board. If you're interested, I'll have his info linked in the description. Check out his videos. They are pretty awesome. The stuff that he's been saying, I've seen his videos. You can watch them as well. It's not only opinionated, but it's valid. These are valid opinions that he's giving on these pre-builts that are objectively overpriced compared to the competition and compared especially to what you or I could build one for today. So I'm making this video for two reasons. The first is obviously to shed light on the fact that there is a company out there attempting to bully and silence a journalist over opinions, okay? Protected speech. That is absurd. The second is to double down on that stance by doing it ourselves. By the way, Overkill PCs, if you guys want to send me a cease and desist letter, be sure to laminate it before you mail it. I don't want it wrinkled. I'm going to hang it up on my wall. Add it to my collection. But before I get ahead of myself, let's introduce the TikToker in question. This is at Circuit Board over on TikTok. You can find his profile linked in the video description if you want to show him some love. Essentially, he's made videos praising some pre-built companies, and the result is that usually they'll end up selling out of their inventory just because his videos have so much pull. His viewers trust what he says so much. It's really cool to see. Then he also has a few videos that call out the bad apples, the ones that are just way overpriced, Overkill computers included. Have a listen.
Here is their website, $2,400 for their starter build. We're looking about $1,100. That's about a $1,300 build fee. Yikes. So about 500,000 views later on their $2,400 3060 PC, let's see some alternatives. So this company has good reviews, and let's see what you get for a 3060 and roughly the same build. So with roughly the same components, you can spend right here $1,000 instead of $2,400. In addition, if you want to spend roughly around the same amount, you can get a 12700F and a 3080 for $2,300. I mean, even NZXT's Creator $2,500 build, that's got a 3070 Ti in it. Like, do you see where we're going here?
So now that you have a feel for what we're dealing with, you can see the work is very honest, and there's nothing inherently wrong with this presentation. If he disagrees with the price of a system, it is his right to exercise that freedom of speech, that freedom of press, and vocalize his concerns to his audience. Overkill Computers didn't like that one bit. I'll tell you what they didn't like even more, the fact that an ex-employee reached out to this TikToker and started talking about things that went on behind the scenes to kind of give a better picture into why their systems are so overpriced. Now there's another layer to this. Apparently the owner of Overkill PCs mentions NDAs in one of his videos. I'm going to pull it up for you. It's almost like he's insinuating there's some sort of NDA breach here, and it has to do with the big companies that they work with, like Intel, NVIDIA, and AMD. I don't know. Have a listen.
Hey everyone, I'm Lucas, the owner of Overkill Computers, and right now I'm going to touch on a few key topics. People have been talking about NDAs as if it's some uncommon, out-of-line practice, when in fact, it actually isn't. When companies like ours do big deals with big companies and have marketing and video projects and things that aren't released yet, we have a 12-month cycle of secret projects and things planned ahead. And in the case if an employee decides to leave, or in the unfortunate event that one gets terminated, we have to protect Overkill's intellectual property. I don't force people to sign them, but when people come work here at Overkill Computers, they have a choice. They can either sign the NDA or they can find another place to work.
Now, Overkill Computers makes it seem as though these NDAs are kind of implied from the big ones that they sign with companies like Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA. We've worked with those companies. We've signed those NDAs. There's nothing in them. Usually they're just blanket NDAs. There's nothing in them that says anything about an ex-employee disparaging the company that they're contracting. I don't understand where this is coming from. I think it's a separate NDA that the employees have to sign when they work with Overkill Computers. That's my interpretation of it. Obviously, I can't prove that without speaking to an employee and seeing the NDA in person. But it's apparently that NDA and the breach of that NDA on the ex-employee's behalf that has resulted in the cease and desist for the TikToker. The problem is the TikToker, acting as an independent journalist, is not breaking any NDA. The ex-employee is. So that person would be held liable for breaking that contract. But the journalist can report on anything that the ex-employee says so long as the journalist doesn't coerce or influence that ex-employee into breaking that contract. The journalist can't pay, for example, the ex-employee to break it. That involves the journalist. That is not allowed. That is grounds for a lawsuit. But the journalist reporting on whatever the ex-employee is willingly giving up is fair game. And Overkill Computers doesn't seem to understand that. If you don't like the things ex-employees are saying about you, maybe change the way you run your company. Maybe change how strict your NDA is. Maybe just don't hire that person in the first place if you feel like they're going to, turn on you the moment that you fire them for whatever reason. And those situations I obviously can't speak to because, again, I don't have that inside knowledge. I don't know what went on for this employee to be fired, if he was fired or she was fired, or if they decided to quit. Again, I don't know. The fact is, that NDA is between the employer and the employee. It has nothing to do with the journalist who is simply reporting on things he has heard. Now, let's get to the pre-built pricing, because this is going to be a doozy, folks. So this is their website, and it looks pretty clean. This is a nice looking system here. Apparently they've built. They have a firm here, which is a payment plan for things that you buy on their website. If you have to make payments on a computer, you can't afford it. Do not do that. It's just not a good way to manage money, in my opinion. Anyway, we can see some of these pre-builts here. I'm going to click on this one, Project Whiteout. Looks pretty cool. And of course, it redirects us to some page that has nothing to do with that product. Let's try again. Blizzard. $2,724 for this pre-built, which admittedly looks pretty darn clean. I can't take anything away from these guys here. You can tell they've been doing this for quite a while. But obviously, my issue is with the price and the hardware you're getting for said price. So let's look at the processor first. AMD Ryzen 7 5800X graphics card, GeForce RTX 3070. 3070 in a $2,700 system would have made sense a year ago, but certainly not today. Inasmuch, you'll see that the product photos contains a 3070 Ti in this build, and that is definitely not what is listed here. I also don't like the fact that this is a vague description of the card. What sort of card is it? Is it a 3070 Founders Edition? Is it an EVGA for the Win 3 like we're seeing here, whatever this is? So you gotta be more specific there, especially when you're asking this kind of money. You got Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 32. Well, you're oddly specific with the DDR4. That's cool. ASRock B550 motherboard. Again, this is too vague. Which B550 motherboard? Corsair H100i. There are several H100i models. The Elite Capellix. Things that you've, again, got to be more specific about. Kingston 500 gig M.2, 2 terabyte Seagate Barracuda, 850 watt power supply, and a Cooler Master case. Again, not specific on the exact case model that we can infer from the pictures what it is. Just extra work for us we shouldn't have to do, again, for a system this expensive. Now, if you put two and two together, this build is about $1,000 overpriced. And I'm not exaggerating that number. I'm going to prove it to you right now. You can see we've got almost identical parts. To the best of my knowledge, I picked things that, were listed, and I didn't pick the most expensive B550 motherboard because, well, he wasn't specific, and if you're not specific, I'm going to assume that you're doing it intentionally because the product is not the biggest and baddest. But yeah, we are well short of $2,700. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out where on earth we are going to make up for that $1,000 delta. I mean, you've obviously got some sort of build fee you usually have to bake in. These companies have overhead, right? And that's something you can't overlook. They have to pay the bills. They have to keep the lights on. They usually have employees. But these need to be weighed against the reasonable markup for a pre-built in question. If you're going to deal in volume, you have to have more employees. You're not going to make as much money per system, but those employees should help you push out more product per day, per week, per month. So you've got to budget these things accordingly. And it seems like some of these companies just jump all in and don't think about the margins. And so they end up having to raise their pre-built prices to skyrocketed levels like this here for this Blizzard system, because they didn't account for this stuff beforehand. It's really difficult to jump into a brick and mortar and just full-fledged start being profitable from day one.
We get lots of views and henceforth have some haters. We also have past employees with opinions on what we do, and unfortunately, we have one employee that has made it his mission to defame Overkill Computers. And to those people, I would say, what you're doing in darkness will soon come to light. And as a Marine vet, I have a lot more respect for people who aren't cowards. Now, I know without a doubt, all my employees here love what they do. They give and get respect. I personally go above and beyond to make sure they're taken care of.
So yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend this one. Let's check out another pre-built. I think they have, the cheaper one here. This is an Apex system, $2,128. Oh boy. So we've got a Ryzen 5 5600X, an RTX 3060. Golly, we are already off to an awful start. Vengeance 16 gigs DDR4, X570 Aorus Elite. The stock AMD cooler. A stock AMD cooler in a $2,100 system, folks. Does that make any sense in this current market? Looks like the same storage combination, 700 watt EVGA power supply, and a Fractal Design Air Pop, which is a new case from Fractal. So this is also conveniently about $1,000 overpriced. I'll prove that right here. I tried my best, again, to be as specific with the parts and as matching as possible. I think we pretty much nailed this one, and yeah, we are several $100 short, pretty close to $1,000 here. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, even when I lump in a $100 plus retail key for Windows, which I don't recommend you buy, it still makes 0 sense. Even if on top of that we factor in $100, maybe worst case $200 build fee, this isn't like a fully custom rig. There's no custom cooling here. You can assemble this in a few hours tops if you've been doing this for a good while. It just, there's too big a gap here. I'm also curious about the warranty, because that is something some folks are willing to pay a bit more for. I don't see, let's see, blog, merchandise. I just don't see anything about a warranty here. I'm not seeing it. Maybe somebody can find it for me and comment it in the comment section. That would be greatly appreciated. Unless it's in the fine print, I don't think it's here. But if they don't have a warranty baked into this, I mean, that makes it even worse deal. It's one of the competitive advantages of buying from a pre-built company, the fact that they usually have a pretty decent service department you can call, get some tech help, and if a part goes bad, well, you just send the card to them versus trying to RMA it through the manufacturer, which can take several months. But you can see here, we looked at the two cheapest systems I could find on their website, $2,700 and $2,100. Both of these are around $1,000 marked up on top of what it would cost to fully assemble. Now, I know I left out the custom cables, and they're small bits. And because we do have that discrepancy with the graphics card, I'm not even sure if this is the perfect representation of what you'll receive, because there is no mention of custom sleeve cables over here. So am I going to get them or not? This is just inconsistencies. It doesn't look good. I do like the fact that they have YouTube videos showing these very systems being built. I think that's a really cool just extra thing they could do to kind of build some confidence in the purchase. But yeah, see, this is a 3070. This isn't a 3070 Ti. So yeah, what the heck is going on here? But anyway, just looking at the two cheapest pre-builts they have on their website, which usually involve the smallest, narrowest margins because, well, it's intended to be cheap, so you can't tack on $500,000 markups. It just doesn't make sense unless you're Overkill Computers. This site you should steer so far away from. Not even funny. At this point, it is borderline... It's scummy. I'll say that. I wanted to say something else, but I'm gonna bite my tongue. I think you guys can put two and two together. This is awful. And the very idea that this company can silence a popular TikToker over videos like this that we're publishing right here on YouTube is just beyond me. This TikToker, I talked to him quite a bit. He has a lot going on in life, a lot of things he's looking forward to, and he's just afraid that a lawsuit would prevent him from following through with these things and these goals in life. And that just killed me to hear that, because he should never have had to have gone through something like this to begin with. He's genuinely afraid. He was genuinely frightened by this letter. And that's exactly what Overkill Computers wanted. They wanted him to be so afraid that he would stop doing what he did, cease and desist. But that's not going to happen here.
And lastly, let's talk about prices. We don't and will never price ourselves at the lowest possible profit margin. And as a matter of fact, sometimes we actually raise our prices just to slow down how many orders are coming through. It's a simple case of supply and demand. The people that keep saying we need to do PC builds for $300 profit, they can get a computer somewhere else or maybe learn how to build their own gaming PC. Now, I prefer to project love and kindness. And for a time, I may move in silence and put chess pieces in place. But you can rest assured, if you threaten my business, my family, and my livelihood, I will utilize every resource at my disposal to arrange a coordinated and effective response. That wraps it up. Overkill out.
Again, I don't take any threat to my business lightly, never have, never will. If anything, all you're going to do is make me double down on my original stance, especially if I believe that there's nothing illegal about what I'm doing. Not that I would ever want to do anything illegal anyway, but when I can back it up with very obvious proof on PC Part Picker, let's say, just showing what I could build these systems for now, the idea that that alone could result in a cease and desist is just beyond me. And if at this point an ex-employee breaking an implied NDA between the employer and the employee with that company is the very thing that you're attempting to sue or threatening to sue this TikToker over, it's just, you've got internal problems to deal with. This has nothing to do with what a TikToker is reporting. If that employee is breaking your NDA, or that ex-employee is, deal with it. That's an internal problem. Either he keeps talking, she keeps talking, whoever it is, they keep talking, and you sue them for damages, and you win in court that way. Congratulations, you did it. It's still not going to change the fact that the employee can, if they choose, break the NDA. It's a civil thing. It's a civil matter. So you've got to deal with that as a company. You do not, under any circumstance, have the right to threaten this way a TikToker who is just reporting on things he is being told by employees who used to work for you. That's a you problem, Overkill Computers. The only thing overkill about this website is the pricing. Everything about this site is just overpriced. I would strongly advise you stay far away from this. It is almost laughable that they're still in business charging what they're charging. I'm honestly surprised. I know there are a lot of folks out there who are just oblivious to pricing. They just buy something because they see it listed as a good deal, even though it probably isn't. And those kinds of people you're never going to be able to convince otherwise. They're just going to spend money because maybe they have plenty of it, or they just have no idea how to manage money or spend it wisely. But most of my viewers by this point, you guys watching, you know how to appropriately shop for a system, for parts for a system. This is outrageous. I honestly don't know what else to say. And the mere fact that they're attempting to bully a TikToker for talking about these things is just, it makes me so mad. Because if this was me and I had received this threat, woo, I'm kind of hoping for one now.
And lastly, I want to thank all you guys. I mean, the decision that I came to is very difficult. Sticking your neck out is very, very difficult when it comes to anything legal. So all of your support, all of those comments, I've read so much, and I want to thank you guys. You guys have been so great, and I could not have done this without you guys.
With that, let me know what you guys think about the situation in the comment section below. I don't want this to be like a drama alert type channel, and we've certainly steered far away from that in the past, just doing what we've been doing with fixing computers and whatnot. That system there needs to be fixed. But this just really struck a chord with me. It hit home because I have been in a very similar situation before, both personally and as a business. Both myself and my company were sued, and the lawsuit was clearly frivolous. And this threat of one is as well. It's a joke. So don't let companies like these, who don't like the things you say that are protected, bully you into submission. Do not let them silence you. Your opinions are your own, and you have the right to vocalize those to your audience, however big or small it is. They are opinions, and the moment that we lose the ability to express opinions, we lose our dignity, our humanity. Not trying to be super sensational there. It's just, again, it's something that drives me up a wall when companies think, or individuals think, they can get away with things like this. So that's all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Greg. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for learning with me.